What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits. I got a mute over here. I'm getting an echo, and I'll explain why in a moment. Let me just make sure. Hang on. Yeah, here it is right here. Here is the issue. I hope you guys and gals can still hear me. All right. Yeah, I think that did it. Fantastic. Now I can move it along. Let me get back to the main page here so I could bring up the comments and do all that good stuff. Yes, it is Tatsuya. Tatsuya, we're going to talk. I'm going to get to the comments in a second as I already see them coming in. I see Bio. I see, of course, J-Rod. I see Val. I see my usual suspects, my Reels rockers here. I'm ecstatic, but at the same time, I am very angry. But before we even get to all that, I welcome you guys aboard. You know, it's another podcast, and I got a lot to share today, not only just with what's happening, not necessarily just between the white lines, outside of the white lines, but even with the podcast / live stream, a lot to get into on that front, which I'll get at the back end, and definitely in the 1 o'clock hour, because in this first 20 minutes, forget it. Well, anyway, we'll get the good thoughts, the positive thoughts here. It is a December 10th. We're now 2 weeks away from Christmas Eve, 3 weeks away from New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve, again, I'm going to talk about that later. I'm planning an epic New Year's Eve live stream. Unlike any other. Hang your hats on to that. I'll confirm it next week, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. And it's actually going to be earlier. And no, it's not going to be at midnight. The ball's not going to drop, or it may not even be at 12 noon. It may even be earlier that morning. But hang on to your hats. I got a lot to get into when it comes to that. So, welcome. Share your thoughts in the chat room. My regulars, they know what they need to do. All good. If it's your first time here, please feel free. Go right ahead and just post away. If you like what you're hearing, if you don't like, if you disagree, agree, feel free. And for those who are watching the replay, leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to follow up, because once this is in the can, in the books, etc., then I will go ahead and still get your comments after that and follow up at that time. So please do not be shy. Do not be afraid. All that. All right, we got to get to this right here, of course, as always. Val, you're happy today, but you said the Sharks lost. So I don't know. Are you happy that the Sharks lost? Well, no. If you're happy, that's good, because sports are sports. I get it. We get wrapped up, and here I am. I'm going to get wrapped up in a few things that I need to get off my chest. But as long as you're happy on the inside and what's going around in your world, then obviously you're living the life. And yes, thank you very much as always, Val. My guy Bio, you and I, we got a few things to share. Of course, my guy J-Rod out in, I was going to say Clio, but Michigan, of course. Tatsuya. Loud and clear. All right, great. Sounds good. Just want to confirm that. Tatsuya, I'm going to get to this in a second. I promise you. MLB Draft Giants are 4 in the draft I saw. Yes, and the White Sox got the number 1 pick from the baseball lottery, which I know they started recently doing. I forgot that they even had a lottery, to be honest with you. Just want to stop in and say hi. I'm laying down. J-Rod's pain is at 11 today. Oh, really? Oh, geez. Hey, man, hopefully whatever pain I can take away, because Lord knows I have some pain that's riddled on the inside of my body. So definitely just take it easy, kick back, relax. And yes, Bio saying take those meds. I don't know we'll take pain. I hear you. And I wouldn't either. So who that think's going to make it to the Super Bowl? Antonio, what's up, my man? You know what? I'm going to get to the NFL in a little bit. You got to hang tight with me, if you don't mind. I'll let you know. Well, I will say this. I'll let you know who's going to be in the Super Bowl when I get to the NFL segment. I'll tell you who I picked to go to the Super Bowl. I picked Detroit and Buffalo. And right now, not too bad, but we still got to wait and see what's going to happen there. But Antonio, yeah, hang on, because I got some other things to get to, but I promise I'll get to your question as far as that goes as well. And J-Rod, I haven't slept in a couple nights, physical therapy wrecked me. Oh, yeah. That's rough. And I hear you, man. Yeah, you don't want to take meds. But I understand. If the pain is that, yeah, no, then you get hooked on that. Yeah, you don't want that. No, I feel you. Yeah, I chose Buffalo. Oh, you chose the Bills too? Look at that. Yeah, I chose Buffalo, Detroit as my Super Bowl This was going back to September when I did my NFL preview. But all right, let's get right to it. I said this is going to be explosive right off the bat, and I got a lot to say. And, of course, right out the gate. Oh, cheers, by the way. This is for Fishing Angel. I don't know if you're on just yet, but this is orange, pineapple, grapefruit, carrot, and ginger to everyone's health. All right, let's get this show rolling. True story. Yesterday, I was outside recording videos for the YouTube channel. And, of course, for those who aren't familiar, and by the way, I'm actually on Twitch right now. Can I just say that? Yes, I'm also on Twitch, trying to get a following there. So for those who are on Twitch, welcome aboard. I appreciate you all. And I just put up the account today, this morning. So as I'm trying to build more community there, because I got a lot cooking on this one. So just keep that in mind with Twitch, and we'll talk about that at the back end. True story. So I'm recording videos for the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, of course, at JReels. Slowly but surely, I'm moving on up at 815 with the subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you. You know that. As I try to get to 1,000, ambitious by January 1st. But hey, if you don't have goals, if you don't have dreams, you don't have ambition in this life, then why are we living, right? So I'm recording videos, and I get a text from none other than BioZio saying, just like this, all he wrote, and I believe with 3 exclamation points, Edwin Diaz. So I said, oh no, he signed with the Dodgers. So I had to look a little, I don't want to say confession, but because I didn't know that Diaz had signed. So I said, wait a minute, I got to look to confirm this. So sure enough, I confirmed Diaz signs with the Dodgers. So we're getting a little exchange, friendly exchange, of course. And next thing you know, I'm gathering my thoughts to put up videos regarding Edwin Diaz leaving the Dodgers. Bio also requested, hey, could you fill me in on my experience as a Met fan watching Edwin Diaz over the last few years? And I did do that. And then, of course, I talked about the Mets, which we'll get into. So as I'm digesting this news yesterday, the first thing I thought about was the fans that we are as Met fans and saying that I've been bamboozled, which I will unpack in a moment. But the next question, and I know that this was going to be all the rage, and we've been down this road before, and we've talked about it, this, that, and the third ad nauseum. This next question. And you know what the answer is to that. And people are going to say, oh, of course, Jay Reels, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. 1,000%. Look at who they've gotten over the last few years. They've won the last 2 World Series. They're going to win in 2026. Come on, man. You know that that's the case, right, Jay Reels? Yes, that's a resounding yes. My answer to that is no. The Dodgers aren't ruining baseball. You know who's ruining baseball? Baseball's ruining baseball. And this is why. Let's start counting the days down. It is December 10th, where if you do the math, 365, well, you can say December 1st, so you got to say 9. So in 356 days from this very moment, when the collective bargaining agreement expires, it is up to Rob Manfred, the owners, to, dare I even say, put forth that salary cap. But with the ceiling, there has to be a floor. It just can't be a thing where, all right, well, we're going to cap out teams at, let's say, $250 million is your salary cap. And therefore, there's no floor. No, there has to be 150 to 250. And that's not a proposition on yours truly to put forth to the owners, etc. Just an example. So it's a thing where once we get that implemented, and I know the players do not want that. The players union, etc., we get it. But guess what? This has become a joke. And the Dodgers aren't making a mockery of it. This is the system. They're doing whatever it takes to keep winning. Isn't that the name of the game? Isn't that what it is? And I get it. I've changed my tune from 3 years ago when Steve Cohen he was the one that put the Darth Vader helmet on to become the evil empire, who took it away from Hal Steinbrenner, who for the longest time prior to that, his dad, George Steinbrenner, had worn the Darth Vader helmet as the evil empire. Well, I hate to say it. There's no evil empire in baseball. The evil empire is that there's no salary cap. And this is the reason why that the Dodgers, year after year after year, will continue to do whatever it takes to win, even when they've won the last 2 years. So people are going to think, J. Reels, you're wrong. You're off your rocker. That's nonsense. Look at what the Dodgers, come on, this is unacceptable. Again, the system is what it is. That's like saying that I'm not going to go to the mom and pop store anymore. The mom and pop store that I've gone for years to buy whatever, soda, candy. But I noticed that to buy a Snickers bar, it's going to cost me $1.25. That where if I go to Target, it's going to cost me 75 cents. I'm just throwing that off the top of my head. So guess what? I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to go to the big corporations to go buy my Snickers. So that's the way the system is. It's one of those things where you're right. You want to continue to pay $1.25 for a Snickers, or you want to pay 75 cents for one? So, of course, that's the way the system is. It's designed to have the Walmarts, and I don't want to just pick on them. I'm just, again, using this as an example. So, therefore, it's a situation where, well, if the system is in baseball that we could get as many players as possible, yes, we'll have to pay the luxury tax, but guess what? We're going to be in the playoffs every year. We're going to win a division every year. And chances are we're going to be in the World Series, maybe not every year, but we're certainly going to compete for one every year. And here it is. After winning 2 in a row, they bring in the best closer in baseball. And he's the best. I'm sorry. You could bring up Josh Hader. You could bring up, oh, dare I even say, not this past year, Devin Williams. You could bring up any reliever you want. Robert Suarez. You could bring up the kid, Andres Munoz in Seattle. I'll pass. I know that J-Rod's going to probably keel over right now. Kyle Finnegan, who signed for 2 years there with the Tigers. You want to put him up there? Now he's not a closer, but you get what I'm saying. And I mean, it's just, you can't curse out the Dodgers. You cannot. You got to curse out the system. You know the old saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. This is how the game's constructed in Major League Baseball. If the players and the players union are going to continue to walk this line of salary cap, we don't want it, this is how baseball is going to be from here on out. And I'm going to close by saying this before I go on to the Mets. I said this yesterday on one of my shorts. Baseball is my first love. The Mets are my first love. And there is no way, shape, or form that if baseball were to take a knee for 2027, even into 2028, which will never happen, but let's just say for argument's sake, here we are, December of 2027, and an agreement still hasn't been come up between the players and the owners to get it right, I will wait patiently until that day happens. Because the sport needs to be fixed. That's all there is to it. And then people can say, well, Jay Reels, well, then what's going to happen? Let's say December 15th of 2026 next year, they come to an agreement and there is a salary cap. What's going to happen with all these contracts? They're just going to pair them. They're just going to have to trade them or whatever. Well, the Dodgers, they're pretty much set because they deferred everybody. That's why I laugh about the Bobby Bonilla Day. And I get it. He's the precedent. But there's no more Bobby Bonilla Day anymore. Even Edwin Diaz is getting money deferred on his deal. Okay? So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about Bobby Bonilla Day because from the year 2035 till probably the end of time, we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani Day. We're going to talk about Edwin Diaz Day. We're going to talk about, I don't even know, I don't think Mookie Betts got money deferred. The Tyler Glasnow Day, I'm sure our guy Yoshinobu Yamamoto got deferred money. So, case closed. I'm not trying to get at you, Bio. Again, it's the system. So, for that being said, it's a situation where let them fix it. And I hope this thing goes to 2028 because baseball, you're going to see the teams that are always there. And yeah, on occasion, you're going to see maybe the Royals when they made the playoffs last year. And shockingly, you had 3 AL Central teams make it to the playoffs, not this past year in 2024. But come on, that is an anomaly. That rarely happens. You're never going to see Pittsburgh, Colorado, Miami, Kansas City, Cleveland, going down the line. You're never going to see those teams be in the hunt year after year after year. We know the teams are. So to answer that question, are the Dodgers ruining baseball? They are not. Now, let's get to it. Let me just go back to this. So Edwin Diaz signs with the Dodgers. 3 years, $69 million. A lot of the talk was Edwin Diaz wanted to get another 5-year deal, similar to what he got when he signed with the Mets after 2022, where he got, I believe, 5 for $102 million. So he had the opt-out. He opted out. He's free agent. We know what happened. Now, the reports were that the Mets had offered 3 years, $66 million. All right. So he took an annual $1 million cut, $3 million overall, to go to LA. Come on, was he that? Wanted to stick it to the Mets just because of $1 million? No, that is not the case. The other report that I read here over the last 24 hours, and of course living in New York and having all of the beat writers pretty much at my fingertips on Twitter, social media, etc., that when the Mets signed Devin Williams to that 3-year, $51 million deal last week, and you know how I feel about that, where Diaz, it wasn't brought to his attention by the front office to say, hey, this is what we're thinking of doing. We want you to be a part of the team. We're thinking about signing Devin Williams just as a backup. But if you're going to be on board, you're the closer. No ifs, ands, buts, babies about it. Devin Williams will be our 8th inning guy. That conversation was not broached to he or his representation. So therefore, when Diaz got the news that Williams signed on the dotted line, it was almost like, well, wait a minute. Smack in the face. So now, as much as I wanted to stay in New York, and I remember when the question was posed to him when they lost to Miami, the final game of the season, where he said that, yeah, he'd want to stay in New York. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. And therefore, when the news of Williams breaks and Diaz finds out, I'm sure he's like, oh, well, I guess they got their closer. Well, I'm going to look elsewhere. And even though they were still in contact, but the damage was done. Now, that begs the other question. Should the team who owned his rights prior to free agency, should they reach out to him prior to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, or this is what we're thinking of doing? Now, he's a free agent and doesn't belong to any team. I understand that. But considering he had been on the team for the last 6 years, and knowing that if they made a move like that prior to informing Edwin Diaz, that this may startle him to the point where it's like, all right, well, they already got somebody. Why would you even think about coming after me? Or even tell him that after the fact to be like, oh, hey, we did sign Devin Williams, but we still want to sign you, or we're still interested. Here's a 3-year deal, $66 million. What do you think? I'm sure he probably said, you know what, that sounds good. Give me a few minutes. Call the Dodgers. Hey, the Mets are offering me this. If you want, you just give me $1 million a year more for the next 3 years. So to make it 23 for 69, and I'll sign on the dotted line. And I'm sure Stan Kasten, Magic Johnson, Paul Walter, is that his name, the owner? They probably said, here's the check. We'll send it to you right now. And, or I should say, here's the contract, not the check. Here's the contract. We'll send it to you right now. What do you say? And he said, see you in New York. I'm out. And guess what? I'm not mad at Edwin Diaz. I am not even in the least perturbed, aggravated, etc. with our former closer. I'm sure you damn well know who I am upset, perturbed, disgusted, frustrated, aggravated. Right here. Now listen, is Edwin Diaz the end-all be-all? Is he Mariano Rivera? He is not. And I get that. But I had posted a video on my YouTube channel, I would say about almost a month ago, that you could actually argue, and Tatsuya, if you're still here, I'm sure, please feel free to comment. I said that it was probably important more for the Mets to sign Edwin Diaz than Pete Alonso. And people could say, oh, Jay, what are you, nuts, Jay Rios? Pete Alonso, he's an everyday player. He hits 35 to 45 home runs, blah, 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 so on and so forth, plays first base, he could DH, etc. Over a guy that is only going to be in maybe a third of the games. Oh, a little bit more than that. Yeah, but do you understand how important a closer is on a team? Just ask the Yankees, a la Mariano Rivera, when they had him for all those years. And even just ask them last year when their closer from the start of the year, who else? Devin Williams. And again, I'm not trying to make Edwin Diaz to be the guy that's going right into Cooperstown. And I understand people are going to come out with the theories like, oh, well, if we didn't win with him, then we can win without him. Okay, well, God forbid, and I hope I'm wrong, if Devin Williams is blowing games in April, you mean to tell me he's going to save those same games in August and September? And I understand it's day to day and year to year when it comes to closers, but I actually thought that it was important for the Mets to sign Diaz more than Alonso because you could somehow, some way, try to broker a deal to bring in a power-hitting first baseman to your team. Or if Alonso signed elsewhere, guess what? You can sign Cody Bellinger. And Bellinger not only can play first, but he can also play the outfield. And I understand Bellinger is a guy that is hot and cold, started off his career phenomenally, won an MVP early on in LA, had his struggles there in the middle, especially during that 1 year when they went to the World Series in 2020. I understand he had some big hits and home runs during that stretch, but the guy was batting like 180 and was striking out left and right. But he's still a very productive player. I understand you want to have Pete Alonso in your lineup, but again, you're not going to get another guy in the market like Devin Williams, Robert Suarez. I mean, those guys are good, but they're not in with Diaz. They're not. And the thing about Diaz, he has lights out stuff. Granted, he only has 2 pitches, but he has a fastball that moves. It's at 100 and a slider that's wicked. And I get it. You can hang a slider and a fastball could go straight, but that could be for anybody 1,000%. But match up the numbers of he compared to his contemporaries. It's not even close. So now let's get back to the Mets. Where does that leave them? Quite frankly, I don't know. You got your closer. There are a couple of people I do have in mind, but I don't know with this organization, with this front office, etc. And now let me start from the very top. Steve Cohen. Remember the word I used a little while ago, bamboozled? Yes, you have bamboozled. Let me say that again, please. Yes, you have bamboozled us. Here he was last year after the great start that the Mets had. Best record in the sport after what, 67 games, whatever it was, 69 games? He said, come out to the ballpark. We will set records, but we'll put forth a good team, a winning team, hopefully a World Series team, as long as you guys show up. And guess what? They drew over 3 million people. And we saw that implosion down the stretch. And for Steve Cohen, when he bought the team officially, November 2020, he had made statements saying that in 3 to 5 years, I want to win a World Series. You know what? I'll give 2021 a pass because he was just getting his feet wet. So let's say starting from 2022, that season, here we are. And I understand 2026 hasn't happened yet, but we got 22, 23, 24, 25 already in the books. 26 is not looking very pretty right now. It is not. And for you, Steve Cohen, that you've come in here, and I understand that you've tried along the way, bringing in the Max Scherzers of the world, Justin Verlander, for whatever reason, I don't know. Well, that was supposed to appease the fan base because Jacob deGrom went to Texas. And by the way, although he didn't pitch for 2/3 of the year, but did end up with a World Series ring in Texas, I must say. And for everything that he has stated and everything that he had come out to be the anti-Wilpons, a guy that has billions of dollars, the most expensive owner in the sport, the richest owner in the sport. And what he's done over the last 2 years, especially with the other guy that you see, David Stearns, right there in that graphic, which you know I'm going to get to him, is a situation where the old Janet Jackson song, what have you done for me lately? And especially, what are you doing today? This team is just, I mean, what's happening here? Well, you got a little success in 2024, or let's say in 2022 when you won 100 games, but spit the bit in Atlanta in that final weekend of the year before getting ousted by the Padres there in the wild card round at home. And in 2024, you took us on a magic carpet ride where, yes, we didn't even think we were going to get in the playoffs, and we got in on the not even on the last day of the season because I had to play that Monday after the regular season, that doubleheader in Atlanta, when you won that miraculous game where Lindor hit the 2-run homer, and then you beat the Brewers. Bring it up again. Pete Alonso, meet Devin Williams, game 3 of the wild card round. You beat the Phillies the way you did in 4 games, the Lindor grand slam to go to the NLCS. And then, all right, they trailed pretty much after the series was tied at 1 to the Dodgers. They lose the next 2 games, but they didn't get embarrassed at home. At least they went on a plane back to LA before meeting their fate at that point when the Dodgers just blew out the Mets there 11-5 in that final game 6. And then last year you got off to the great start, and then that's it. You go south. What have you done, Steve Cohen? And what are you doing? And now let me get to the next guy there. 37 comments. Oh, yeah. David Stearns. This is the guy that grew up in the shadow of Shea Stadium and Citi Field. Queens guy. You would think he knows the climate and the temperature, not only of the city, but of the fan base. And what he has done, and I understand he's made some good moves and some shrewd moves. Forget about Juan Soto. Because Juan Soto, that was all on the owner. And now that I think about it, could I just put a pin on Stearns there for a second? Steve Cohen signed Juan Soto. And I'm sure David Stearns is in the room, but that was all Uncle Steve. But it was almost as if by him signing Juan Soto away from the Yankees, that was to spite the fan base and the Yankee organization. Because it was almost as if it was a coronation that the Mets finally got a free agent that the Yankees, who they always get or seem to always get, not this time. And therefore, Juan Soto, with all the hoopla and everything this time last year, listen, we don't need to rehash that. But it was almost as if that was his goal as an owner. And then after that, it was almost like, all right, David Stearns, now you're in control. As opposed to him saying, wait a minute. Edwin Diaz is a guy that is a free agent and closers do not grow on trees. He is our first priority. Pete Alonso, all right, we may not like his defensive metrics. Let's sit at the table with him. He could play first base for the next 2 years. After that, he'll be our DH. And hopefully we'll give him a 5-year contract. As I've said to you before, 4 years with a team option of $150 million. So 5 years total, $150 million with that final year being a team option, which was the exact contract that Kyle Schwarber got yesterday, and he's a DH. And he's actually 2 years older than Pete Alonso. So, yeah, I'm not a GM. I'm not an executive. I know that. But guess what? When people say, well, Jay Wheels doesn't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, well, hey, I gave him the offer. And now you can forget about it because they're going to ask for more money considering he's younger. And it's a situation where Cohen, because I hate to use this term, but because he shot his wad with Soto, now it's like everything else is, all right, I don't want it to deal with it. I'll sign off on things, whatever. But instead of him putting that iron fist down, not to say he has to be George Steinbrenner, but the iron fist to say, all right, this is what we need to do, and we got to do this now. We got to do this swiftly because we got to show our fan base that we mean business. This is the guy that says, oh, we want to emulate what the Dodgers are doing. He's pretty much emulating what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing, the team that David Stearns came from 2 years ago. All right, enough with Cohen. I got to get to Stearns. So Stearns, one more time, New York guy, Queens, shadow of Citi Field, Shea Stadium. How in the hell are you importing ex-Yankees, ex-Brewers? Because now the rumor is that they want to see if they could trade for Trevor McGill, who is Tyler McGill's brother, who was a starter on the Mets last year, and McGill, who was the closer last year for Devin Williams, who got traded to New York in that deal. The Yankees, of course. And now he's also thinking about maybe adding Freddie Peralta, who's going to be a free agent after next year, I believe, to the point where it's like, all right, we're going to have Brewers East and Yankees East to be the makeup of our roster. I mean, who is he kidding? Does he not know this town? Does he not know this fan base? And I said this last week, and I'll say it again. Devin Williams coming to the Mets. If he thought it was pressure in the Bronx, what do you think is going to happen when he's in a Met uniform? When the team hasn't won in 40 years, where the team is literally in the desert dying, thirsting, hungry for not only just a championship, just any success. I mean, you can't make it up. And I'm not trying to say Stearns has to go out there and spend Steve Cohen's money. And I'm sure he runs by every solution, every trade proposition, whatever. But it's almost as if he is looking in the bins of the clearance aisle in the aforementioned targets of the world. And I understand you're not going to construct your team irresponsibly to the point where your payroll, just like it was a few years ago when you brought in Scherzer, Verlander, et cetera, to where it was like $345 million with the luxury tax over $500 million. I get that. I mean, it's working for the Dodgers, but they're smart in that. And then think about this, if you will. I get it that they probably didn't want to get Devin Williams and Diaz, two guys on the back end of a bullpen, which would have been close to being locked down, to invest $40 million on those two players, knowing that they got to get a true first baseman. They need a center fielder, starting pitching. I get all that. But you have resources. You have money, correct? But as much as they were afraid to do that or to talk to Diaz prior to try to get both of those guys in the building to be the 8th and 9th inning guys, think about what the Dodgers did just this past year. They signed Tanner Scott, a left-handed reliever, a good one, I might add. Pitched for the Marlins in 2024 for the first half and then went to San Diego. The Dodgers signed him to a 4-year, I believe it was $72 million. Wait, let me make sure. So my math's correct. No, 4 years, $68 million deal. $17 million a year. Do the math. Where was Tanner Scott last postseason? Did you even see him in that Blue Jay series? And mind you, they didn't even have Alex Vesia, the other left-hander, because he was going through a family ordeal, sadly, with his wife and their newborn who didn't even – I don't have to get into it. It's terrible. Terrible news. So Tanner Scott, who's still on the team, I might add, still with the same salary. Oh, and by the way, here comes Diaz with his $23 million, $40 million. I didn't realize that New York, the media capital of the world, has all of a sudden become Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Kansas City, Miami as a small market team. I mean, what are we doing here? So now you have a situation where Stearns, the nerdy one, all right, let's call it as we see it. I'm sorry. I know that maybe a little shot across the bow, shots fired, whatever, but come on. If he's not going to wake up here, and Steve Cohen, of course, he brought him in here. So it's a situation where he's not going to fire him. And even though it could be somewhat fireable, considering what happened last year and some of the moves he made, and I'm not going to go through them right now, but this is not a big year. This is an enormous year for this franchise, for this organization, based on Steve Cohen and his 5-year World Series plan. As I mentioned before, we're going into year 5, even if you take out 2021. And knowing that all they've done to this point is bring in Devin Williams. And I don't want to make him out to be chopped liver, I understand. But we saw what happened with him last year. And that's not to say he's going to have that type of year this year, but guess what? There's a black cloud over Citi Field with this organization, and especially with players not living up to par. And if he had a 4.79 ERA, and I don't want to hear about whiff rate and all this sabermetric garbage, I don't want to hear that. To me, his get outs, get saves, that's your job. Forget about, his spin rate and his airbender. No one cares. 4.79 ERA, blown saves left and right. That's what matters. That's what fans care about. They don't care about stupid whiff rates. And Stearns, I got news for you. If he's not going to pull rabbits out of his hat or has a couple of aces up his sleeves or anything to that like here over the course of the next, I'm just going to say till New Year's Day. And I understand things that happen between then and spring training after that. But if he's not going to be able to make some big-time trades and not give up the farm and not do anything stupid just for the sake of, oh, we're getting backlash here, guys. Now we got to do something. And all of a sudden they're going to overpay for, I don't know, someone that we don't need. Let's say Kyle Tucker. We don't need Kyle Tucker. All right, you're going to put him in right, put Soto in left, so you're going to make Soto unhappy? Let me guess. You're going to sign Tucker, and oh, right, now we got Tucker in the mix. Great. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, we didn't call Juan Soto. Now we have to break the news that he's going to have to play left field. And how do you think he's going to feel about that? The Mets could screw up a lottery ticket. And you could ask, why the hell do I root for this team? Why? The scars are all over my body. And guess what? The scars continue. And before I get to your comments, as I pivot momentarily, and for those who have posted comments maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, if you're still on, I appreciate it. Thanks for staying put. But in closing with this whole thing regarding the Mets and Uncle Steve and David Stearns, like I said, they got to get it right. It is still early enough. And I understand that they traded away Nimmo and they had to do something to break it up a little bit because it was a situation where they weren't winning with this group. And now you had two pieces from last year's team and even the last few years' team gone. Is Alonso next out that door? Is there anything else that's going on? We heard recently about clubhouse issues with Francisco Lindor, Jeff McNeil, and even Juan Soto, to where the manager had to refute that at the winter meetings there down in Orlando, that all that's a lie. And listen, you got to take his word. Do you believe it 100%? There's got to be some truth to it, considering McNeil and Lindor were fighting over a damn raccoon a couple of years ago in the locker room, which, I mean, seriously? But they better get their act together, because I got news for you. This, as well as many other disgusted, disgruntled Met fans, are going to continue to be that way. And if Uncle Steve and even David Stearns, to a lesser degree, wants to say, hey, guys, come out to the ballpark next year, then guess what? They're the ones that are going to end up being bamboozled if they don't do anything between now. All right, I'll even extend it past January 1st. But let's say by the middle of January, because once you get past that, forget it. They're going to be the ones that are bamboozled, because it'll be shame on them, not shame on us. All right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I'll get to the NFL. I know Antonio wants to know what my Super Bowl pick is if I had to choose right now. All right, here we go, J-Rod. This has been my life for 20 years. I deal with it. Hey, man. Keep plugging, brother. Keep plugging. Hey, Arnell, I hope you're still here. How will Phillip Rivers do? I don't think Phillip Rivers. Somebody had posted on the channel saying that, well, George Blanda played to his, I think it was 48 or something. And yes, that is true. But George Blanda didn't take 5 years off before coming back into the league. And not only that, but the league is bigger and faster than it was in the 60s. George Blanda, the old quarterback there for the Raiders. So, Arnell, if you're still with me, I hope you are. Listen, I guess he's better than who they have now, whether that is Riley Leonard or Anthony Richardson. Or how about Anthony Richardson? That guy, I knew coming out of Florida, not that I watch every Florida game, but yes, that guy, as people have said, and I love the quote, he could throw a football through a car wash and it'll come out dry, but he is inaccurate. He is raw as hell. And now, as we see, he is brittle because he had that accident. Not only did he have that shoulder injury, but he had an accident with a resistance band where it hit him in the eye, and now he's on IR. I mean, you can't make it up. I think Rivers, as long as they protect him, maybe he'll be okay, because the guy's as mobile as a statue. So, and he's been out of the game for 5 years. Yeah. My two, the Bills in Texas. And the Texas? Out of the AFC, you mean? Yeah, I'm not so sold just yet on the Texans. Although their defense is great and C.J. Stroud is back, but and who knows? Maybe it is the year. Yes, J-Rod. I don't know if you're still with us. If you are, I appreciate it. The W, Antonio. Let's see. Hey, in shape, out of shape guy. Wait, let me make sure I write that. In shape, out as shape guy. Or in shape, out of shape guy. I can't read. Or the old, what is that from? What is that show? My So-Called Life? Remember that TV show back in the 90s? I could read, just not so good. Charleston White. I do? I don't know. Is that a compliment? Why? How come I don't know? I know of a Charles White, tailback USC. Remember him? Charleston White. I got to look that up. All right, here we go, Bio. Small market teams need to start spending too. You're right about that. And that's the problem with baseball. There needs to be a floor. And they just can't pocket the revenue money. Excuse me. I know the Pirates and the Marlins have come out saying recently, oh, we want to spend money. The Pirates, I believe they gave, or they were going to give Kyle Schwarber, I read, was it 4 for 120, I think it was? And for the Pirates to do that, I mean, that's shocking news. And I'm sure the Phillies said, all right, we'll give you one more year. And, of course, the Pirates aren't going to match that. So, Val saying hello to the peeps in the room. All right, here we go. Tatsuya, and I'm sure you just heard what I said. I understand he wanted to stay here. But guess what? Think about what I just said, based on these reports. How true they are or not, but I mean, they sound true because of the Mets. At the end of the year, at the end of the baseball season, if he said, I want to stay in New York, I don't want to go anywhere else, whatever, so on and so forth, fine. But then they go ahead and sign a closer. And then afterwards come to them and say, hey, I understand we signed Devin Williams, but we want you to be the closer. He's like, no, wait a minute. Why would you need me? Why would you want to come back to me? No. That's like, I hate to put it in this context, but it's so true. That's like the guy that's involved with a girlfriend, but then goes to the new girlfriend, and he starts hanging out with her, and I like this, is exciting, this is fun. And then he goes back to the old girlfriend. It's like, yeah, I think I found somebody new, but if that doesn't work out, I'm going to come back to you. What? So I disagree, man. I disagree. And you listen, you have the right to your opinion, and I understand that. I respect it because you thought Diaz was going to be part of the mix, etc. So listen, obviously you feel that way. Much respect. I get it, but I don't think so. I think the Mets screwed this up big time. We used to laugh at Bob Bonilla Day, but in actuality, it's a good move on both sides. We, as fans, are just not hip to that type of contract back then. Because yeah, no, I hear you, Bio. No, absolutely. And listen, I wasn't trying to get on the Dodgers, whatever, because they're playing by the rules also. Where does it say in the collective bargaining agreement that you can't put out contracts that aren't deferred? That you can't have deferred contracts. And understand that's manipulating the salary structure, but there's no real salary structure. It's them not paying the exorbitant tax to the point where, yes, if these were all annual, could you imagine adding up all these salaries on the Dodgers right now, what that would be? And remind you, Ohtani's getting paid $2 million a year. $2 million. Yes, we understand that 680 of it's going to be deferred once it's over and done with. But that's how you do it. And that just goes to show you how Ohtani is such a team player. And it's like, hey, listen, I make so much money in endorsements, and $2 million a year, that's a pittance compared to the endorsements. And then when his career's over, forget about it. I mean, what is this? National Consortium Stream Boot to remove the space. All right. I don't know what Stream Boot is, but all right, here we go. Edwin was the number one person. Tatsuya is speaking my language. That's why, to me, he was more important than Pete Alonso. And a lot of people got in my ear in reference to that. They weren't saying that, oh, you're crazy, you got to sign Alonso first. And I get it. He's a position player. He plays every day. One more time. You could get another power bat somewhere. A lockdown closer or close to it. It is the system. There you go. And the owner, just 15 years ago in the Dodgers, yeah, Frank, yeah, of course. So things started to change. That's it. End the story. And listen, not that it's going to guarantee you World Series every year. It's not. But guess what? You're going to be in the mix every year. What is this? Hey, Cristiano, Messi, yes. Oh, wow. He just kept going with the Messis. And even the next one. And again. All right. You want me to talk Messi? Well, World Cup is in less than 6 months. And the U.S., wow. I didn't realize this is all of his comments. All right. I'm going to skip a lot of this. Yeah. Stop spamming. All right, Tatsuya. Yeah. I skipped about 6 or 7 of those. All right. What do we got here? Sharks lost. Not happy about that, but I'm happy about the day. All right. No, that's good. You're happy about the day. And the Sharks have actually played a lot better. Remember, they were the last team to win a game in regulation, and now they're over 500. Or maybe they're at 500 right now. Let me look that up real quick. Let's see. Just for Val standings. The San Jose Sharks in the Pacific Division, oh, no, they're at 500 right now. So 14, 14, and 3. After starting off, I think like 05 and 2 or whatever it was. All right, Bio, the prediction. From your lips to God's ears. And I will say this, and I've thought about this several times, that if it happens to come, God forbid, it's game 7, they'll probably have to wheel me out. But if they're in a situation where they're on the verge of winning a World Series, whether up 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, or dare I even say tied at 3, I would definitely live stream that game. Oh, without question. Forget it. The Mets are in the ring. Oh, now really from your lips to God's ears. I tell you. Well, Tatsuya, they won 83 this past year, so that would certainly be a step below. Seals have been doing better. Have they been doing better? Oh, well, they did this past Sunday. And they've got the Dolphins on Monday night, so hopefully that'll be a win. We shall see. Phillip Rivers is Colts quarterback. He's on the practice squad. Yeah, I thought that was it. Yeah, he is. And the funny thing about that, he's on the practice squad, and he doesn't mess up his eligibility for the Hall of Fame, which would come next year. But if he signs onto the roster, that will get put back another 5 years. So he won't be eligible until 2031. Just keep that in mind. And to me, let's face it, I understand he's put up big numbers. I understand he's played a long time, etc. He's in the top 10, I believe, in passing, touchdowns, whatever. He is not a Hall of Famer. Why I say that? I get it that he got hurt that divisional playoff game when they beat the Colts before playing against New England in the AFC Championship in 2007. That was the undefeated year. And he played that game on a torn ACL. To me, that is the highlight of his career. Nothing that he did on the field that was like, wow, yeah, I remember that playoff game where he did. And he was actually pretty good in that game against Peyton Manning. But where's the signature moment? I'm waiting. Still waiting. That's his career to me. And he's going to get in, but yeah, you know why the Colts signed him, Val? Desperate. I mean, they might as well get Peyton Manning back. I mean, seriously? Or call Andrew Luck. Now, they're not going to do that because, of course, he retired because of the injury that he had. And I understand Peyton had the injury too, noodle arm in Denver when he won his last Super Bowl. But better off calling those guys. Giants, will they sign anyone in free agency? Yeah, Verlander, he should just retire. I mean, and listen, if he wants to keep pitching, God bless him. But will they sign anyone in free agency? It's tricky with the Giants because they did a lot of their signing and even trading dating back to last year. Willie Adames, they traded for Rafael Devers in the middle of the year. They also got another player last year. They re-signed Matt Chapman, as you know. I believe it was the year before that, toward the end of the year. So, yeah, they got a lot of money tied up in players. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm sure they'll sign somebody, but I don't think they're going to sign anybody of note in my eyes. What Stearns is doing with Milwaukee, with Tampa Bay Ray. Yeah. No, they're doing the same thing. Oh, brother. Yeah, it's the analytics. Oh, God. New coach will keep his usual 17, Daniel. Is that right? Wait, we'll get to keep his usual. No, if Daniel Jones is wearing 17, I don't think he can keep. He can't unless he agrees to that. Read that on X. Unless he agrees to that, Val. I don't know. Yes, I am very surprised by that. Thank you, Val. Appreciate that. All right. Well, laying down didn't work. My son wanted to be a different. Oh, geez. I'm sorry to hear that, Jay. Is it snowing in Michigan? I wonder if it is. I know I'll get to other things. I know I got to get quicker with these comments, but I love the comments. 5 inches from 11 last night. Still snowing now. Geez. Yeah, it hasn't. 84 degrees. Oh, my God. I envy you. And I'm not one to envy, but listen, 84. What is it right now in New York? It's actually not bad today. Yeah, it's 44 degrees, but it feels like 33. So let's see. Jay, it made for a fun drive this morning, taking Fishing Angel to work. Ah, okay. Shouts to Fishing Angel, of course. And yes, you're going to have to tell her, Jay Rod, about my concoction here. Yeah, I know. That was disastrous. And that was coming off of the killer 2022 that he had. And he just signed that free agent contract. Oh, my God. That was a... Oh, yeah, that was terrible. Ugh. I'm thinking about buying a house in a warmer climate for winter. Get out of the... Oh, I hear that, J-Rod. Oh, you're speaking my language. Ronaldo, yeah. Jay Reels doing a live play with Steelers Lions game. Yeah, well, you know what's interesting? That's a 425 game. I'm actually coming back. I'll be in South Jersey that weekend, but I should be back by then, but I'll keep you posted. Yeah, because we're doing some friends that invited us for a pre-Christmas deal. So it's Saturday, and because it's South Jersey, it's 2 hours south of us. We're going to spend the night. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get back by 4:25, but I'll keep you posted. Or even if I jump in 5 minutes into the game, whatever, I'll definitely let you know. And let everybody know for that matter. Wow, 28 degrees and a winter weather advisory till 4, 30-mile-an-hour winds. Yeesh. Coach Steve DeBro. Yeah, exactly. That's a guy that played till his late 30s for sure. And what is he's got to be like in his 60s now. Jay, I guess that was for J-Rod, yes. Yeah, sorry to hear that, brother. All right, here we go. Val B. Sorry, physical therapy Monday didn't go great. All right, that's all my comments I got. So I'm caught up on the comments, I believe. Yes, I am. All right, so now let's get to some other things here. Now, the NFL. It's funny. I guess should I get to this right now? Colts signed Phillip Rivers, 44 practice squad. Yeah, I guess we already talked about that. We don't need to go into any further. Now, as far as the final 4 weeks of the NFL season, and let me see anything happening news-wise, sports. Let's see. Travis Kelce stumped trying to find fix for performance. He's old. And I get it. I mean, could he still be productive? Yeah, but I mean, just Derek Lively to have season-ending foot surgery. And I picked the Mavs as an under this year. What was I thinking? I thought they were going to have a good year. And their number was 41.5. What, they couldn't get to 42 and 40? I know AD's built out of wet toilet paper, and Kyrie isn't going to be back till maybe March. But damn. And Cooper Flag, you can't put it all on his shoulders, but I thought they would be a little bit better than what they are. But as far as the NFL goes, the schedule this weekend actually looks very good. The game tomorrow night is a bore. I know Tampa needs to win because they're tied for first place with the Carolina Panthers in the NFC South. So you got Falcons at Tampa there on Prime. But the weekend games are actually pretty good. You got Chargers at Chiefs. You got Green Bay at Denver. You got Indianapolis at Seattle. The Sunday night game I hate. The Monday night game I hate too, even though it involves the Steelers. Detroit at LA for Bio. And there's one more. Wait, did I get them all? Oh, Buffalo, New England. And listen, they're hyping that Buffalo, New England game like if it's Armageddon. And I'm a fan of Bill Simmons, and I understand he has the pom-poms out for the Patriots, but it's the marquee game this week. No, it's not. That is not the marquee game. Buffalo's 2 games behind them, 2.5 when you think about it, because I could see if they were a game behind or tied, then that'd be an Armageddon game. That is not. Oh, that's the marquee game of the week. Stop with the. I can't stand. I do not like creators that I get it. You're gonna have a bias towards the teams you root for, but you don't want it to be egregious. You don't want it to be blatant. And with him, it is just, come on. And he's my age. I could see that from somebody who's 30, like, all right, whatever, and you just kind of dismiss it. To me, that's just disgusting. I hate it. And, and listen, I just came and pounded the Mets for 20 minutes. So if you already know, you know, credibility, ownership, that's what it's all about. So, but I like the games this week. When you have 5 good games, although the primetime games suck, let's call it as we see it. But the games that have, a lot of the games still have playoff implications. I mean, you don't have a ton of bad games. Like, in other words, is anybody going to watch Carolina, New Orleans? No. Or even Minnesota, Dallas? Dallas is not making the playoffs. I don't care what people say, even with the Eagles losing the other night, because this is what I'll say about the Eagles. If they lose this week at home to the Raiders, then I'd really be worried. Right now, it could be like, Jalen Hurts, 5 turnovers, 2 turnovers on 1 play, lost 3 in a row. Are we starting to gag? We've seen this movie before. 2 years ago, we were 10-1, and we went skidding into the playoffs and out of the playoffs, losing that awful game in Tampa. So, yes, I could see them being, I don't like this. They lose to the Raiders on Sunday, then I'd forget it. Flat out worried. Let's see. Yeah. Is anybody watching Washington at the Giants? No. But a lot of these other games have implications. Cleveland at Chicago only because of the Bears. Baltimore, Cincinnati for the Ravens. Although right now, they're on life support as far as their playoffs go. Vegas at Philly, just based on what I said. Arizona, Houston. Texans, Jets at Jacksonville because of the Jaguars. Green Bay, Denver, very good game, as you know. Detroit, LA. Rams, that is. Carolina, New Orleans because of the Panthers. Tennessee, San Francisco, Niners. Indy, Seattle, very good game. Although, who knows, Phillip Rivers could be suiting up. But when we take the 30,000-foot view of the NFL, right now, you're looking at 2 conferences that it's just going to be about jockeying for playoff position and not much else. And as I pull up the standings here, just to go by conference, because I get it that the Colts are 8-5 and they're tied with Houston, although Houston has the tiebreaker, so that's why they have the 7th seed right now. But the Colts, they have a tough schedule. And like I said, they might as well have me a quarterback the next 4 weeks. They're not making the playoffs. I mean, who are we kidding? Unless Jonathan Taylor's going to get the ball 35 times and going to run him to the bone, and he's going to pull a couple of games out of his rear end. But besides that, they're not making the playoffs. And like I said, the Ravens are on life support. The Chiefs are on life support, as you know. There's barely a pulse there. The Dolphins are those 6-7, but come on. And they won 4 in a row. Give them credit, but they're not going to make it. So AFC, it's really the top 7 as of right now. I understand things that happen, things could change, but I can't see that. Because remember, the Ravens, their schedule's tricky too. They got to go to Cincinnati, and if Joe Burrow's in the game, they have a shot to win, despite them not playing for anything. Then they play New England, they go to Green Bay, and then Pittsburgh, the final game of the year. So that's not an easy schedule. And the Chiefs have tiebreakers over no one, despite the fact that their schedule's easy, but the Colts are not going to make it. So that's the only team that they have a tiebreaker on. The other teams from 5 to 7, they do not. No Chargers, no Bills, no Texans. Done. So forget it. And they're already 3 games behind the Bills, so you can forget about that. And they're 2 games behind the Texans. So unless the Texans are going to lose 3 of their last 4 and end up 9-8, or wait, did I get that right? Yeah, they go 9-8, and the Chiefs are going to run the table. Then they'll get in, but no. That ain't happening. And Denver's going to Kansas City on Christmas night with that defense, similar to the defense that they saw Sunday night against the Texans. Not happening. So that's your AFC picture. And again, I could talk about positioning and this and that, and where will the Chargers end up? Will they end up there at 5 and play Pittsburgh? Buffalo could get that spot, as we know. Pittsburgh, they're only going to win a division, so they're not going to go any higher than that because they're 2 games behind Jacksonville right now. Jacksonville, they are not going to get a 1 seed. They're 2 games behind Denver and New England, so that's what that is. And then as far as the NFC, although a little bit better, where the Lions, they are a game behind the Bears, who went from 1, they had the 1 seed Sunday at 4:25, so when the game was over, they went all the way to 7. And Detroit has a tiebreaker over the Lions. But besides that, Carolina, I understand that they're 2 back of the 7 seed, but do you expect Carolina to be in the wild card mix when you get to week 17? I don't think so. To me, their only shot is the division, which obviously that's in play with them being tied with the Buccaneers right now. But for the Lions, they could certainly get that final spot in the NFC because right now they do have a tiebreaker over the Bears, despite them being 1 game behind, and they will play week 18 in Soldier Field. The thing with the Lions, though, their schedule is tricky. At the Rams, Pittsburgh, at Minnesota, at Chicago. And people say, oh, Jay Reels, Minnesota, they're going to be a done team. I know I'm sound like a broken record, but division games on the road are always tricky. They're never a lock, never a shoo-in. So you got to take that into consideration. But if the Bears, all they need to do is they need to be 1 game back, or the Bears. The Lions, they just need to be 1 game back of the Bears going into week 18. They do that? Oh, my God, I'm just getting this right now. Tatsuya, are you still with me? You got some breaking news. I'm taking a second just to form my thoughts here. Well, that is your NFC picture. Because other than that, Dallas ain't going anywhere, as I've said before. They had to run the table. But anyway. I'm just gathering my thoughts here for a second, and let me just make sure. I listen. I believe the source that I have that just sent me this text. Jaden Daniels out, so there goes that. Hang on, I'm just texting this person back. I got to do this. My apologies, people. Breaking news. You ready, Tatsuya? This is for you. Hold on a second. If you can. I just got a text that the Baltimore Orioles, and listen, I trust my source. So let's just make sure. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know if that's a rumor or if that's official. And that's why I've been gathering my thoughts here. Because I don't want to put out erroneous information. Yep, here it is. On X, Jeff Passan. The Baltimore Orioles have signed Pete Alonso to a 5-year, $155 million contract. Let me read the comments here. Well, at least I have a short to add to it. Let me see. I bet you Tatsuya is on top of it. Oh, he got it. Bye, Pete. Yep. Bye. Yeah, they do. Polar Bear's gone. As a matter of fact, Bio was on top of it before my friend sent it to me. All right, I'm going to go back to these comments. I see what you said, Tatsuya, etc. Hold on. All right, let me just get back. All right, here we go. Rams, Lions. I don't see the Lions winning that game. That could be tricky. Jay lost faith in the Mets. I've lost faith in the front office because I don't believe, after what I've seen here, and not just this past week, this goes back last year, and I understand Soto, I get it, but really, what do they do other than Soto? What, Griffin Canning? Frankie Montas, guys like that. As it is, I also read a report that they're thinking about bringing back Starling Marte. Now, is that to appease Juan Soto because that's his partner in crime? Considering all these rumors that we've heard about the clubhouse, etc. Now, listen, I like Starling Marte, but what is he now? 36, 37 years of age? They cannot bring him back. No. They cannot. And I like Marte. Professional hitter, good hitter. He's even a clutch hitter. if you're going to bring him back, you got to bring him back 1 year and $5 million or whatever. You're not bringing him back for a big, maybe $10 million tops. Even that's too rich for my blood. But I've lost faith in this front office. I feel like I've been bamboozled. And Tatsuya, you're a Met fan, correct? How do you feel? What do you think? And listen, I'm going to say this. If this was their plan to trade Nimmo, not re-sign Diaz or Alonso, the two guys who I said who's the most important, I said Diaz and Alonso. Now, maybe Cody Bellinger's on their radar. I would think so at this point because who's playing first base? Is Mark Vientos taking ground balls right now? I mean, seriously? And I like Vientos as a hitter. He's not a good fielder. Obviously, he's not a good third baseman. He tries. I'm sure now you're going to have Beatty there at third or Mauricio, who knows? Or they're going to make a trade. But unless Mark Vientos right now, as I speak and as we're here together, if he's not taking ground balls, then what are the Mets doing? Because who's their next first baseman? That's going to put up any type of power numbers. And Cody Bellinger, I hate to say it, that's the guy I'm going to go for right now. And you need right-handed power because now the Mets, they have a surplus of left-handed bats. I get it, Lindor's a switch hitter, but you got Lindor, Beatty, McNeil's still on the team. I'm sorry. Mauricio, Soto. I mean, come on. And if you're going to add Bellinger to the mix, and watch, we've seen it. The Mets are taking all the Yankee imports. We've seen it. I don't need to break down the guys. So, all right, we brought in Devin Williams. All right, hey, Cody Bellinger, come on. You're next up on The Price is Right. Don't worry, I'm still gathering my thoughts. Oh, wait. Yeah, Green Bay Denver's going to be good. You know what? Let me get away from some of these. I'm going to get to these comments. And I trust me, that's why I love doing these lives. Green Bay has problems. Green Bay has problems with quarterbacks moving around. Well, they beat Goff twice, who doesn't move. Well, they beat Caleb Williams. And he threw a terrible interception in that game at the end. But yeah, Jay, I could see that. I'm trying to think of the teams that they played. Yeah, they beat Pittsburgh, of course. Minnesota. Yeah. Jalen Hurts, obviously the Eagles beat them. That's not great about physical therapy. Absolutely. Thank you, Bio, for breaking this, even though I know I was going on my diatribe or in the and if I would have saw the comment, I would have just jumped on it. And then I got the the text from my good friend who's on top of it. Polar Bear is gone. Yes, he is. Mets are going with new blood. Absolutely. Tatsuya. Yep. Johnny Mad Jokes. Oh, there he is. Johnny, thanks for hopping on board. I appreciate it. I hope you're still on. Don't worry, I'm still formulating my thoughts here. If you missed the first part of this, you got to go back and listen to my thoughts about Diaz, my thoughts about the Dodgers and what they're doing, and, of course, Steve Cohen and David Stearns. Johnny Mad Jokes, we're bamboozled. Nobody should go to that ballpark next year unless, as I said earlier, if David Stearns has a white rabbit and aces up both of his sleeves, then we'll wait and see. But if right now scrambling around to do, I hate to use this comparison, but let's call it as we see it. When the Knicks fired Thibodeau and they were looking under every rock, every corner, every manhole cover, going to Jason Kidd, going to Chris Finch, going to teams that had coaches and say, hey, do you want to coach the Knicks? As now that the Mets are going to try to ask the organizations that, hey, do you want to trade your player to us? I mean, come on. Yeah, I love Marte too. Yeah, end of an era. Yeah, it is. And you know what really bugs me, though? So the Mets signed him for one more year, and he had a very good year. And Pete Alonso, listen, he stood true to his word. But I'm not mad at him either. Not mad at Alonso. because 5 minutes after the Mets lost, and you remember I did that live stream when the Mets lost in Miami, when the Reds lost to the Brewers and had a shot to go into the postseason. Now, they would have been sacrificial lambs to the Dodgers, but they had a shot to go in, and they not only spit the bit, they didn't gag, they asphyxiated. They didn't even score a run. And 5 minutes, the body isn't even cold from it being dead. When Pete Alonso was asked, "Are you going to be a free agent?" "Oh, yes, I'm opting out. I'm going to be a free agent." And kudos. I hope you hit 7 million home runs against the Yankees over the next 5 years, which you probably will do. Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, I love Marte too, but you can't bring him back on a 1 year. But again, you're going to bring him back to what? Appease Juan Soto? And that's what that's going to be. Is this how we're going to operate, David Stearns, Steve Cohen? We're trying to get younger. We're trying to get more athletic. We're trying to win. Marte, I get it. He's clutch. I'm going to look up Marte. Marte is old. I hate to say that, but it's the damn truth. Baseball parlance. Starling Marte. Oh, by the way, I was wrong with his age. He is 37 years of age. And he's had a bunch of injuries over the years. And I like him. I really do. But no. And when will we be 38? Oh, we won't be 38 until October. So, October, a month that the Mets barely frequent or visit. Let's see. All right, Bio, what do you got? This is a good day for Mets fans. Out with the old, in with the new. Kyle Tucker must be signed now. I know, and I mentioned Kyle Tucker before, but now here's the deal. If the Mets are going to do that, Bio, they better call Juan Soto now. They better call him to say, Juan, we're thinking about bringing in Kyle Tucker. He's going to play right field. And Juan Soto, when he first came into Major Leagues, what position did he play? Left field. Is it all right for him to go back to left field? I think absolutely. You're making $765 million over the course of the next 14 years, and including last year, 15. He should go to left field. But you don't want to upset the apple cart. You don't want to get them all. Look at what happened to Rafael Devers last year. Oh, you're not playing third base. You're going to be a DH. And then he was a DH. Oh, now he wants to play first base. And he's like, no, I want to be out of here. And he goes to San Francisco. What does he do? He ends up playing first base. A couple of games. You got to be in touch with these players, front office. This is 2025. This isn't 1950 where these guys are literally singing for their supper. Even guys like Mickey Mantle who are trying to go in for an extension, $100,000 at that time. I get it. It's like $1 zillion in this day and age. But yeah, teams had you by the you-know-what. Sadly, it's the other way around. Mets need to change with your collapse. No, and you know what? Bio is right. And you're right, Tatsuya. And Bio is right also. Right here. If their plan was to shake it up in this regard because they haven't won with these guys, okay. Forget about your plan B. What is your plan A? I mean, think about what, again, I know I got the Yankees. Think about what happened last year with the Yankees. They put off a very handsome offer for Juan Soto. $760 million, 16 years. We know the deal. We don't have to get all into it and break it down. But once he signed with the Mets, what did they do? They brought in Cody Bellinger. They brought in Paul Goldschmidt. All right, long in the tooth. He did produce early on, but faded. And Bellinger was good all year. They bring in Devin Williams. We've already been down that road before. And I'm missing one other guy they brought in. And they brought him in halfway through the season, Ryan McMahon. A good fielder, cannot hit. But somebody else that passed off season that they brought in, he'll come to me. But it seemed as if there was a plan B. Here we're talking about plan A because the Mets didn't want to sign Alonso last year, if you recall, based on the agent, based on the numbers, based on all that. And reluctantly, they signed him, but I guess they fell in their lap because Alonso wanted to stay. But now he gets his deal. He's going to Baltimore. And now they could say, all right, no Nimmo, no Alonso, no Diaz. Now let's put our team together. And it shouldn't be a thing where now let's put our team together because if they had their eyes set on somebody, they should have gotten him already. Not this, now let's scramble around and see how we're going to put this team together to at least be in consideration for a wild card when they should be going for a division. Everything I said in the first half hour of this live stream. King Supreme, welcome. Mets are cooked. You know what? How could I disagree with you on that? I cannot. And I appreciate you hopping on board, King Supreme. How can I disagree with that? I cannot. Jay, I was late with that info. My bad, everyone. Oh, nah, it's all good, Jay. All good, all good. So, yeah. So, to go back to what Bio said, Kyle Tucker must be signed now. They could do that, but is that a Band-Aid? If anything, the Mets need a center fielder. Can we get a center fielder? Is Carson Benz going to be the guy? They're going to bank on a rookie? I don't know, man. I just don't. Yeah. Excuse me. Bio. Oh, my goodness. Now, he wasn't part of Stearns' regime because, remember, he left the team that he was on. Excuse me. There's the juice. He left the team that he was on and signed with them, I got, what, 2 years ago? Yeah, he was there 2 years ago. This is who the Mets are going to get for your first baseman. Bio, you hit it right between the eyeballs. Rhys Hoskins. A guy that the Met fan despises. I don't want that guy on my team. I do not. No. And I know you're not saying, hey, what about him? But I do not want Rhys Hoskins anywhere near Citi Field. And let me tell you something, and I'm saying this right now. If David Stearns signs that man, I don't care if he plays for free. I will destroy that deal because that's the MO of what the Mets are and their offseason plan is, to go after a guy like Rhys Hoskins. And I get it. You're not going to go after whomever the top free agent is at first base. But, geez. What a disgrace. I mean, it's I don't even know what else to say. I do not. Thank you. Johnny Mad Jokes knows. No, Hoskins. What I'm going to have to do over the course of the next 24 hours, and I'm going to talk about this on a live stream if you hang with me, guys. I said this in the first 5 minutes, the direction where the live streams and the podcast are going to go. So hold on to your hat with that because, and I may get to that next because I want to talk a little NBA. Hockey, there's not much going on in the NHL, but with this NBA Cup and the Knicks, I got to bring that up here momentarily before I get to the live stream ideas and podcast stuff. But I tell you, and like I said, unless they have a trade that just comes out of nowhere, and I can't even tell you that. I can't even tell you right now. And here it is, Alonso. He comes back. He breaks the all-time home run record, which is going to be broken by Soto anyway. So that's why, to me, I laughed at that last year, and the Mets made a big stink about it and had a ceremony. And I mean, seriously, why? What now? What does that ceremony mean now? And you could say, oh, come on, J. Reels, you're nitpicking or grasping for straws, but that is the Mets in a nutshell. Yeah, I understand that they want to acknowledge it. All right, fine, but not to the point where, oh, gifts and I mean, please. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Alonso's going to say in his press conference. That I want to know. But who knows? Oh, the Baltimore press, are they going to get on him? Not on him like that, but they're going to get to what happened with the Mets. Somebody's going to get into his ear. Who knows? But anyway, let me get to the NBA stuff. Oh, wait, you know what? Let me put a cap on this unless something else happens in the next whatever. You know, the Mets trade for Tarek Skubal, but they give up half the farm and everybody else. And even if the Mets got Skubal, that's going to help. But then they have to sign him to $400 million. I mean, But the thing with Alonso, am I surprised? I am not. Am I upset? Yes, I am. Not at Alonso, the front office. Now, my thing is, and I need to hear this, similar to what happened with Diaz and Williams. Now, was that Diaz offer prior to when they signed Williams? Or did they sign Williams and then they gave the offer to Diaz to where Diaz like, no, you already signed the guy. Why should I sign with you guys even if you said I'm going to be the ninth inning guy? So I'm just curious to know what the Mets offered, if they did offer Alonso anything. And if they didn't, you have every reason and every right to destroy the front office. At least put up an offer. Can you do that? At least say, hey, we gave him 5. I bet you it's probably 5 for 150, like I said earlier. And then they said, no, Boras says we can get a little bit more elsewhere. And the Orioles said, oh, we'll give you $5 million more. And they're like, yep. And think about this. $1 million more that the Dodgers gave Diaz per year is the same that what they gave to Alonso. And the Mets wouldn't go back to say, all right, how about for 160? No. Where are you going to get your power from? From the light post in right field to connected to first base to see if you get any type of power as far as home runs, RBIs, etc. I mean, it's a joke. Front office is just, they're clueless. They're clueless. And as I said before, my plan would have been to try to re-sign Alonso and I said it. How many times, if you listen to the podcast, even a live stream, I said, you offer him, Tatsuya, I'll get to that in a second. I said, you know what? It's Boras. We're not dragging this out the way we did last year. 5 years, 4 and a team option for 150. This was after the awards for Rookie of the Year, MVP, etc. I would have put that on the table. I said, you have until December 15th. If you're not going to take it, we have to look elsewhere. End of story. That's it. And I'm not a GM. I've never sat in any of those rooms. I'm not an executive. And people can say, well, that's why you aren't, Jay Reels. That's why you're just a blowhard on a live stream talking sports. But does it not make sense? Does it not sound plausible to think like, all right, well, I understand the Mets' interest last year and how it was. And, yeah, homegrown Met. And, let's make him a Met for life. And, let's at least put out an offer. If he doesn't take it, and let's say if they gave him that offer, he says, no, we're not taking it, and he didn't come back with a counter, all right, you could blame the Mets there a little bit to be like, all right, come on, you could have countered, but they didn't, but at least they put forth an offer. If they don't put forth an offer at all, and the Orioles just came in 5 for 155, thanks, see ya, then how do you expect to even trust this front office if that's the case? All right, Tatsuya, what do you got? Mets never made an offer as it became clear to them that Alonso was getting bids. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case because think about it. When they signed Alonso last year, it was right almost up until spring training. Matter of fact, I want to get an exact date. When did Pete? Because they knew with the metrics and all that, but all they could have told Alonso was that, yeah, we want to February 12th, where position players reported, I believe, like the 20th? So it played right into the Mets' hands. They figured that, Pete Alonso was going to get that 6-7 year deal, $200-some-odd million. And remember, the Mets offered, I think, was it like 7 for 1? I forgot what it was. 154, 151, or maybe 6 for 151. I forgot what it was. And they signed on February 12th, or he signed. Where I'm sure the Mets are like, great. They got an opt-out. We got 1 more year with him. Awesome. And then this year they probably felt the same way. Oh, yeah, let's see him get that offer. And here it is. Oh, it's disgraceful. That's why we're bamboozled. Steve Cohen with all his money and his hedge fund nonsense and, I'm a Met fan for life and, my wife Alex. And that, to me, that is a bunch of garbage. Throw it right in the trash. He could be that, Tatsuya. Would you be surprised? He could be that. Fishing Angel. Hello, and I saved this for you. Orange, grapefruit, pineapple, ginger, carrot. Cheers. You can't make it up. You just cannot. Oh, my guy, Zip. Zip, how do you feel? You feel bamboozled? Do you feel like, wait a minute, this was a guy that once the Wilpons left, we're like, oh my God, no more Freddie coupons. No more Ponzi schemes. I understand now it's all about the new Hard Rock at Flushing because all that's being developed right now with the soccer stadium and the apartment buildings, and now you're going to have the Hard Rock Casino out there, and all he's thinking about is ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Isn't your first priority this organization? The team that supposedly you rooted for, the team that you supposedly loved, the team that you thought, oh, we're going to bring a World Series within 5 years? What? All of a sudden that passion has gone out the window? He's becoming a phony right in front of our eyes, man. Yo, straight up. Steve Cohen. That's why these new owner syndromes. Listen, unless you're getting a guy that's just going to come in there and be like, yes, I am a fan. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I don't know if David Stearns has been the influence in all this. Oh, well, this is how I operate things. Look at my success from Milwaukee. Look at what I've done with these teams. But Dave Stearns, where are the rings? Any rings on your finger? And I want to hear I was the executive of the year back in 2022. Nobody cares. No one cares. It's a disgrace how this organization is being run. He was better off just telling fans I have a cap and no big deals, enjoy. Right. Yes, agreed. Lost my soul. Yeah. Fishing angel, yes, yummy. I know, I wish I could somehow like throw it into the camera lens and you'd be able to try it. Now, it's funny because I know I'm going to chop this up and put this on the YouTube channel so you get to see. I don't know what's going to – I'll put up a video. You know that, and I'm sure it's going to get – hopefully gets a lot of traction because, again, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and who knows, by January 1st. But, the weather in Michigan is horrible. I know J-Rod had come out to say that it's been snowing since 11 o'clock last night, still snowing today. That was thinking about throwing your son's TV out the window. So, yeah, temperature and the – cold weather and the snow has certainly taken over your town there, Fishing Angel. But yeah, Uncle Steve fooled us all, man. He really did. He was full of it. And people can say, well, Jay Reels, let's pull you off the edge. Let's say just the good baseball fan who has no ties to the Mets, etc. They can still say, well, Jay, come on. Winter meetings are just getting started. Well, not really because they do end tomorrow, but there's still plenty of time. Who knows? Like you said, maybe there's an ace. Maybe there's a rabbit that needs to be pulled from a hat. Maybe there's something along the lines that they have cooking that we don't know behind the scenes. And yes, there could be some truth to that. But at this point, do I really expect that to happen? To me, if they sign Cody Bellinger right now, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm going to be like, that's a knee-jerk reaction to what just happened. Or you know what? All right, well, they did something. To me, you want a shock? Mets get Paul Skeens. And listen, there's no rumors. Even if that's aggregated, I need the views or whatever. Now, of course, that's not the case. But unless they're getting Paul Skeens, let's go around the horn here. Because, again, right now I'm delirious with this team. So, you know what? I got to try to shoot for the moon, stars, sun, etc. Paul Skeens, they also get, I know I'm not in baseball mode here, too, so you got to forgive me. Let's say Ketel Marte, and that's just a name I'm throwing out. You see, this is what happens when you get caught in all this. They can get any young, good player right now or a bunch of players, and that's the only way that they would appease me or the fan base at this present moment. Oh, how about this? Yeah, they got Gunnar Henderson from the Orioles. They get, or Jackson Holiday. And who knows how they're going to pan out. I mean, at least Henderson has a bit of a track record. Guys like that, or they get Julio Rodriguez from the Mariners, where that's not going to happen. And he's got a big contract as it is. But you understand what I'm saying? Something along those lines, where you're like, oh, okay, all right. Now let's go. Do you really think that's going to happen? Please. Please. You know what will happen? I can see this. Mets will get a center fielder. You know what that center fielder is going to be? And they're probably going to pay maybe 30 cents on the dollar. Great. Maybe not give up too much. Or maybe they pay 60 cents on the dollar so they don't have to pay too much. But wouldn't this be the Met move of all time? They'll get Mike Trout. He'll be closer to Jersey where he's from, Melville. I understand it's not a hop, skip, and jump, but it's certainly not Anaheim to South Jersey. And, yeah, that'll be the trade. Mets get Mike Trout. and the 3 MVPs that he won in Anaheim and all the numbers, etc. But yeah, he's literally going to be a shell of his old self. I mean, I can still see that happening. Well, here we go, Zip. I'm waiting to hear their plan. Who's going to replace the runs for them and Alonso? See, I know SNY, and I get it. They're not going to needle him like they should. But boy, I would love to be the John Heymans of the world, whatever, right now, because they got to put a microphone in his face. Like, forget about what is your plan moving forward. My question is, what was your plan prior to last Wednesday when they signed Devin Williams? That's what I want to know. And even if, and David Stern's going to be vanilla. Oh, well, our plan was to make our team better, was to upgrade at certain positions. It was to, no, duh, but no. What was your plan? What was your list of priorities? Was it resigning Alonso first? Was it resigning Diaz second? Was it not resigning those guys and going after, and I understand tampering, if they're making trades, they can't talk about players. Okay, I get that. But free agents they can talk about. Was it going after this guy, that guy? I want to know. And of course, he's going to say, he's going to take the high road. He's like, no, we're looking at all options. It's nonsense. Oh, no, did I just shout out your husband? Why do you want to throw us? I don't think he said why. I think maybe, well, hold on. I'd have to go back. I got to scroll up and check that comment there. Oh, here we go. You ready? Oh, God, this is bad. Now, I don't want to come between you and the husband. Ask Jay. I'm sure he'll tell you. Yeah, I'm scrolling up. I'm going to scroll back down, Fishing Angel. Of course, I don't want to be the one to cause any rift in the household. And not that I'm doing that intently by any stretch, but let's see. Zip, you hit around the head with this. Oh, my God. And I said this earlier, Zip, that is music to my ears. He did say that. And I brought it up earlier. Oh, we want to model ourselves after the Dodgers franchise. Well, he's certainly not acting like that, Steve Cohen. And you're most definitely not acting like that, David Stearns. As I said earlier, New York, not to say it's completely gone that route, but New York might as well be Milwaukee, Cleveland, Kansas City, Miami, Pittsburgh, small market team, Colorado. Guess it was the minors league. Yeah, maybe the minor leagues, and they want to build that way. But if you want to build that way, then it's just sort of blowing up the team in that regard. And I guess they're blowing it up now, considering that 3 of their key players are gone. So, I mean, that's what I mean. They're going to bring in, is Vientos going to play first base now? And is Beatty going to be your third baseman, or Mauricio? Because we know who the second base and shortstop is. Their catcher right now is Francisco Alvarez, if he can stay healthy. We don't have a center fielder. Right now, we don't have a left fielder, unless they sign Tucker and they move, to left field, Soto. Here we go. If Stearns had signed 2 good starters last year, we would not be in this mess. No, of course. He went the cheap route. Griffin Canning, who I'll admit, he actually pitched pretty decently, but he blew out his Achilles, so you're not going to see him this year. And Frankie Montas, who they signed 2 years, $17 million, had a player option for the second year, but they decided to cut him and just give him his check and on his merry way. I mean, seriously? I left a comment, but it's too long. It's sad. Oh, no. Did you? Oh, it's too long, it said? Yeah, I think you only have like 200 characters to type stuff. Fishing Angel. You're fine? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want to cause any chaos in the J household. Soto's hating his decision right now. Well, this is what I said earlier, and I'll say this just for you, Zip, if you don't go back and listen. That signing of Soto, to me, for Steve Cohen, was him trying to not only win over the fan base, which he did, but also to stick it to the Yankees and their fans. And I think it's more of the fans, because I don't know if there's a rift between Steve Cohen and Hal Steinbrenner. So I won't go as far as saying that, but it was almost like, oh, all right, let me show my fan base everything that I talked about when I first walked in through the door, that we're going to get the big prize out there, that we're finally going to be the team that stole a big free agent from the Yankees. To me, that was his MO, knowing that if he did that, the fan base would just be ecstatic, as they were. But with that being said, it was the one move that did he have to make? No. It certainly helped, but that wasn't the end-all be-all. As we saw what they did last offseason, bringing in the pitchers that they brought in and seeing how the team flopped in the second half. So to me, it was almost as if that was his move, and then anything after that was, all right, David Stearns is going to run the team. Because we all know that was not David Stearns who signed Juan Soto. If you or I had that type of money, we could have signed Juan Soto. I mean, come on. Who are we kidding? And obviously with the family angle and the suite at Citi Field and all the other perks, whatever, that the Yankees didn't want to do. And you know what? That was their right. So you can't hate on the Yankees for not wanting to give him a luxury suite or clothes for his family or whatever. I don't know whatever. I get that. But now, this is what happens. You do that, and you don't do much after that, and now your key players, especially ones who I get it, they haven't won, but have been part of your core and at least had a decent run or a pretty good run 2 years ago through the postseason. And now this is what you have left. As the old saying from I Love Lucy, Ricky Ricardo, you got some explaining to do, Lucy. And right now, they got some explaining to do. What is this? What's this? The whole problem with this world is everybody gets judged for no reason. Where did that come from? Did I miss something? Is it what I'm talking about? The whole problem, everybody gets judged for no. Yeah, and that shouldn't be the case. If you're saying generally speaking. Now, of course, I'm saying all this, Fishing Angel, just from a sports perspective. This isn't anything. It's personal, but it's not directed at them personally. It's what they do professionally is the problem that I have. I'm not judging Steve Cohen as a person, David Stearns as a person. I know I called him nerdy before, but he is nerdy, let's face it. But it's not like I'm knocking his character or the type of person he is. I don't know the guy. And even if he was a guy that, I don't know, I don't want to make any speculation, but let's say he was a bad guy. He was a guy that was, let's say like Billy Martin, who got in fist fights with people, was a drunk, this and that. And yeah, we could say, oh, that's an ugly look, that's terrible optic, etc. But, you know, he's got his demons, he's got to fight them. Right, we shouldn't be judging him. He's a drunk, he's a... Right, we have no right to do that. We could say it, and certainly we could see it based on how it's being displayed, but right, we shouldn't be judged. So I agree with you on that. But obviously, all the critiques that I'm throwing at here is because of what this team has done professionally in the organization. So I get it, which is wrong, 100%. Don't judge people for who they are or what they do. No, I'm just judging their business practices, which as a fan and a lifelong fan at that, I have every right to do. And when I said right, that wasn't directed towards you. That's just my anger. Ugh. But no, 100%. People need to wake up, swallow coffee, realize our world is the way it is. Yeah, right. And it would be a lot better that if people were more compassionate, that people were more thoughtful, that people were more aware and had the forthright to know that we all live on this planet, that just because I'm in a supermarket that, oh, well, that's my item, I'm taking that. Or, yeah, I'm taking 100 rolls of toilet paper. No, you don't live on this planet by yourself. And here you are starting fistfights with people. No, not you, of course. And it's a joke. But everybody has their ways and everybody has their entitlement, whatever that is for them. But yeah, it's a farce. Stearns better bring King. Satisfaction. It has to be all-stars. Can't be several mojos. Yeah, right. No, yeah. I agree. And the one guy that I like too coming out of the bullpen who I think they should sign, and listen, I'm not trying to make him out to be Ramiro Mendoza or Jeff Nelson, but I do like the guy, the kid. He's not even a kid. Excuse me, Pete Fairbanks from the Rays, and he was a closer. He could be our eighth inning guy. Why not? And I'm sure he probably won't cost a ton, considering the Mets. You know, it's not bargain basement, but it's certainly not Edwin Diaz. Oh, yeah. Yes. No, I was just saying that. Oh, I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, I got you. Oh, right. In reference to, I know my brain's all over the place. My apologies, Fishing Angel. No, I understand. But no. And I thought I would never, ever But right, I don't want to be. I know you said, hey, what did he say about our son's TV? I don't want to be. Well, hey, Jay said this, and I understand you're not going to look at me and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're not going to go to your husband. And he didn't say anything that's derogatory or terrible, but. And I'm sure if you haven't spoken to him about him now, well, I'm sure you'll speak to him about him later. Maybe I'll have a chuckle over it. That, oh, well, Jay in the chat was saying that you wrote something. I know. I know that I'm certainly not judging you guys by any means, but I don't want it to be any friction between you two based on something that he wrote. And then here I am going back and saying, hey, well, he said this, because I'm not trying to instigate or ignite anything, but you get where I'm coming from. You had to rejoin the live? Oh, welcome back there, Val. Go Giants. I know that's your team. Here we go. Yeah, Tatis move. I know, but then here's the other thing. What you'll give up, another big contract coming back. And I do like what you're saying there, Zip, 100%. Here's the other thing I'm curious about. If there was ever, I won't go as far as saying a rift between Lindor and Soto last year, where Soto came in businesslike, razor sharp focus, not dealing with the rah-rah, the OMG at the beginning of the year and all that. If that was something that he didn't want to do, and Lindor is that flashy guy, et cetera, blah, 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 then Tatis is like twice that of Lindor. And who knows what their relationship was like in San Diego. That is the only issue I would have in bringing Tatis Jr. over. Because if there was any disconnect, I'll say, between Soto and Lindor, was there any between Soto and Tatis? Because Tatis is just as, if not even more, of a hot dog than Lindor is. Not that Lindor's a hot dog. He hits a home run, he puts his head down, goes around the bases. But Tatis, he's all about the flair, all about the hot dog on the mustard, throws, sliding into first base, electric player, etc. That is my issue. Yeah, Dr. Phil, I could try. Uh-oh. Did he really? I didn't see that. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Go Dodger Blue, yeah. Dodgers are flying high, I tell you. Tatsuya, thanks for that. He signed with the Tigers. That's a good signing. I know, Jay, I don't think he's on with us right now, but, hey, I like that. To me, he's a solid arm, good arm. He's closed. I don't know what his makeup is, his temperament would be for New York, but I think he would be good. Well, so much for that. That went out the window. Hey, yeah, what's happening, Mike? Good to see you on. Yeah, I've been babbling about the Mets for the first pretty much hour, the whole thing. I was talking to some NFL before. I don't even know if I'm going to get to this NBA Cup because I've just been, I tell you. Oh, what is this? Fishing Angel? I was extremely happy the Packers won. Disappointed in the Chargers, though. Disappointed in the Chargers. Well, the Chargers won the other night, though. Unless you were disappointed with Justin Herbert. You saw he handled himself with that post-game interview? It's like, I want to celebrate with my teammates. Justin Herbert, come on. I mean, seriously, it's literally 90 seconds of your life. I can see if they want to keep him on the field for a half hour. Bad look there. Yes, Val. 5 for 155. Oh, Feinstein had it? Oh, I thought it was Jeff Passan. What you call it? So, yeah, I know Tatis would be nice, but, yeah, I'm going to think long and hard. If I'm the, Michigan, yeah, they've been very good, too. Give it up for them. Wolverine basketball. Yeah, I'd have to say, I'm going to have to think long and hard as to what, if I was a GM, where I go. Because how I looked at it was, did I think they were going to resign Alonso? I had hope. I had serious hope. But, yeah, it's not like I thought, I want Bellinger, I want this, I want that. If anything, I like Bellinger for center field. Have him in the outfield. Why not? But who knows? They're probably going to sign him now to spite, not just for the Yankees' sake, but to appease the fan base. All right, well, we don't have Alonso, but we got you, Cody Bellinger. You can play first, you can play center, blah, blah, blah. And the Yankee fans will be up in arms, too. It's like, the Mets doing it again. They're taking one of our players, blah, blah, blah. Oh, jeez. All right, let me move on. Let me see what else we got. This is worse than listen. Oh, my God. And that was, I believe that day was It could have been December 7th, 90. Oh, man, I was distraught. Weather here, Fishing Angel, is not bad. 44 degrees, feels like 33. It's cloudy. It's supposed to rain around 4 o'clock, but yeah, it hasn't been too bad. It's been cold the last couple of days, but it's almost winter. Yeah, Mike, yeah, exactly. You know what? If you guys want to hang on just for a second, your boy, I got 15 minutes. Well, I could go past 15 minutes, but I want to kind of tidy this up. I haven't eaten. I know the super's going to come probably knock on the door around 2 o'clock because he's got to fix something with our radiator. But your boy has to use the restroom. So if you want to hang tight for a minute, for 60 seconds, I'll do so. So I'm just going to put a be right back post because I got to get to the podcast live stream stuff that's going to happen here over the course of these next few weeks and maybe even days for that matter. And then just a little NBA. So just stand by. Your boy needs to go to the bathroom. So hang tight. All right, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. So as I shake it out here. Now, let me get to a couple of the things here. Put Kismet on. Oh, I could have done that too. That's a good one, Zip. Next time I just put her up on the chair and she'll just sit here and just kind of look around and maybe bark a couple of times just to kind of follow her in her daddy's footsteps. All right, so now, yeah, I'm probably going to go up till 2. If I would have known this was going to be like this, I'd go longer only because I know my my super's going to come. I told him to come at 2 o'clock to check on our radiator because it was leaking, or radiator. I always say that name wrong. Radiate. All right. Yes, Will Smith. I know you have his jersey too, I believe there, Val. All right, 2 quickies. NBA Cup. Knicks advance to semifinals. Are the Knicks fan? Are you guys geeked up? I'm curious. Now, it's an in-season tournament. You know how I feel about that. And tonight you have the Western Conference. Phoenix is going to play OKC, San Antonio, and the Lakers. No Victor Wembanyama, so that's a damper there. But I'm sure Lakers Thunder is what everybody's going to want to see. And the Knicks are going to play the Orlando Magic after the Magic beat the Heat. But I'm curious. Pulse of the Knicks fan. Are you excited? Are you pumped up? How are you feeling? Is it just an in-season tournament where it's like, I shouldn't be pumped up, but I am? You can admit that. Or it's a thing where it's like, who cares? If they win the whole thing, as far as the cup goes, great. But I want the real ring, the brass ring. So I'd be curious to know what your thoughts. Me, I understand you haven't won in 53 years. Maybe it's something to hang your hat on to build for the rest of the season if you do win. So, yeah, I don't want to just diminish it if the Knicks do happen to get to a final and win. I will say this. I think the Knicks will have a better shot beating the Lakers than OKC, though. I mean, is OKC going to lose a game? They're 24-1. And, I mean, that's it. Bounce around. Yeah, I love how this is it's 35 minutes ago, which is why it was longer than that. Alonso finalizing deal. Been there, done that. We know that. Let's see. So as I pull up standings, where is it? Jeez Louise. They are 24-1, which matches the best record in the history. Oh, no, tonight, if they beat Phoenix tonight, that's right. They'll be 24-1. So I'll shut up there. But, yeah, I'm just curious to see what the Knicks fan has to say. And obviously, if you're not on live, you can leave a comment. I'm curious to know. Let's see. I can see a few more comments here. Oh, there he is. This is the guy I was waiting for him to jump on board. Chocolate strawberry shake. Is that what you're drinking there, Fishing Angel? That sounds good. Here's the guy. Yes, I know he's ecstatic. I know he's right now puffing his chest out. This is my guy, Jai Shield. He has a podcast called I'm Gonna Tell It Like a T.I. Is podcast. He's also has a YouTube channel. Oriole fan to the death from Baltimore, of course. And yeah, Big news. I'm happy for you. I hope he hits 8 million home runs against the Yankees from now over the next 5 years. Yeah. I know I've said my piece on this. I know you'd have to go back and watch, and I'm sure I'm going to put some snippets together as they'll come up, or I'll just post on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I'll probably post it on my too. I have to post it on my TikTok and Instagram. I know I've been bad with that, but yeah. Zip Drive says, yeah, everyone's a championship, so the NBA Cup in season doesn't matter. Yeah, I know. Listen, I mean, the team is I don't know if they are looking at it like, yeah, we want to be named or known as the best team ever. Well, they're certainly off to a tremendous start. But going back to Jai, yeah, congratulations, man. And I'm not angry at Alonso. I'm angry at my front office, who I've pretty much destroyed over the last hour and 50 minutes. So, yeah. I mean, what more can you say? What more? And in fact, you know what, Zip? I got to get – oh, you made a straw – oh, wow. That sounds good. So you made it homemade. Good for you. Better than buying in the store, even though sometimes the store tastes good. But, you know, why buy in the store when you can have it at home? So I agree with you there. Yeah, I'm going to see if I get Keith on. Because Keith, I know, is a big Met troll, Keith McPherson. I'll see what he's up to for next week. I know he's doing his own live streams, which I'm trying to catch up to him. Which, you know what? I'm going to segue to that right now. So, Jai, congratulations. I'm happy for you. I really am. Trust me, no bitterness. It's always business, never personal. But Alonso, listen, he wanted to be out the minute the Mets lost in Miami in game 162. So, kudos to him. And I mean that sincerely. All right, let me get to these few things. These are important announcements. You ready? Year-end thoughts, goals for the live stream. And I've thought about this a lot over the last few days. And I have to even give a little bit of an assist to Keith McPherson, former WFAN host at night. Now he's doing his own thing, which I admire, doing the right thing, etc. The podcast, as you know, every Monday and Thursday. I'm going to have another podcast tomorrow. I've actually thought about doing this tomorrow, but because you got me today, but I'm really thinking as early as next week that the podcast will literally be the live stream. I'm thinking about doing my live streams now Monday, Wednesday at noon, or maybe I'll move it up to 10. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move up to 10. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, live streams at 10 a.m. as early as Monday. And then what I'll do is I'll just convert it to the podcast. So I'm doing it in reverse. So the podcast, which I usually record, and then I post on my website, and then obviously post on YouTube, etc. Well, you're going to get it on YouTube, live, direct, effect, the whole nine. And then I'll just go back and take the recording and post it on my website for the podcast. Your thoughts? I was thinking about doing it tomorrow. I still may do a podcast pregame tomorrow, which I probably will do, because if I'm going to do the podcast, this will be, I guess, my last go around. But then what I'm going to do is with the live stream starting Monday, I'm going to, my format is going to be similar to this, but I'm going to break everything down. I'll go through your comments, but I got to be fast with the comments because I'm going to try to do it in 2 hours. Maybe I'll do it more, who knows, but I think 2 hours is a good sweet spot. So that's my thought, because I want to get the interaction. Not only that, but based on the platform, I get my snippets, which is done through AI, as opposed to me having to comb through a recorded, and I can also do that through here too. But yeah, I'm thinking about going that route just to experiment to see how that goes into next year, because like I said, and I'm also on Twitch too. That's another thing. So for the Twitch heads out there, even if you don't get me on YouTube, you could get me on Twitch as well. But that name is at JReels1, just a number. So JReels and then the number 1 after it. Not #1, not ONE, just 1 after it. So for those who are Twitch heads, you want to get me on Twitch, you could go that route too. And there may be comments on Twitch for all I know right now, and I couldn't even tell you. So I'll go back on that later, because I figured, hey, let me jump on board with Twitch. Why not? If I'm trying to monetize, if I'm trying to get the name out, the podcast, the live stream, etc., that's the way to go. And then on New Year's, I'll tell you next week. New Year's, I'm thinking about doing an epic one, and this will be a long one. This could be 2 hours minimum, maybe 3 hours. Year end. And yeah, I can't announce it just yet, but yeah, this would be crazy. Just put it that way. It'll be something that I don't know if anybody, I'm sure there's other people have done it in this regard, but I'm not going to tip my hand just yet. Next week, next Wednesday's live stream, I'll unpack that and share with you my thoughts. I just hope that the day itself is a nice day. I'll just leave it at that. If you want to read between those lines, you can, but that's where I'll leave it. So that's my year-end thoughts for the goals for the live stream. So make the live stream, then the podcast Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10 a.m. So probably be 10 to 12. And then I wouldn't have my podcast pregame if that's the case. I'm also thinking about doing one last thing when it comes to live streams. Starting Saturday's the 13th. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a 12 days of streaming leading up to Christmas. So it's like the 12 days of Christmas, but 12 days of streaming. So it wouldn't be through this platform, all of it. This wouldn't be a part of it. But let's say on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll just go from my phone no matter where I'm at, and I'll just record. And yeah, we could talk sports. We could talk about whatever it is you want to talk. So I'll leave that open for how you guys and gals want it. So just think about that. All right? That's not until Saturday. And there's not going to be any time. I may just pop up, or it could be Saturday at 10 a.m. It could be 1 in the afternoon. It could be 7 at night. So you're just going to have to stay tuned to YouTube for that type of live stream starting on the 13th. Here we go. Real quick. You should do a night one. Hold on. Oh, he kind of trolled my fans. Oh, he always does that. Yeah, I know. And that's why I also want to get him on too, because I could go back and forth with him on socials, but no, I want to get him on so we could get at it back and forth and troll one another. Do a night when many fans work in the AM. Yes, no, and that's part of it also. I didn't bring that up just yet, but I have thought about doing a night one. And who knows? Maybe the one on Monday, I'll do it at night. How about that? But you have to stay tuned. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel, etc. You'll be here for the new start time. All right, bye. And obviously you're 3 hours behind us, so that's confusing as all get out. Oh, yeah, confusing. Well, I'll still be on YouTube as I see you in your next one. Yes, I will still be on YouTube. That you don't have to worry about. YouTube will still be here. Do what you got to do to make it. Wish you the best. Thank you, Fishing Angel. You know, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you too. But yes, I'll still be on YouTube. I just added the Twitch as just another arm to this. Bio's an early bird. Yes. So you know what, people? With that being said, that will do it. Another episode, just about in the books. You know the drill. So tomorrow I'm going to do a podcast pregame, 9:30, and I'll record the podcast. It'll be up around 12:30 or so. Stay tuned to the channel for updates as far as Monday and moving forward, because, yeah, you guys got to be apprised of what's happening. Any last thoughts from the chat? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Please subscribe. You know the deal. You can also subscribe on Twitch too if you like. Latest edition of the podcast coming tomorrow. Thanks for all, as you know, because whether you do or do not know, this is what I love to do, people. If you couldn't tell over the last 2 hours, then you have to come back, especially for those who are just hopping on board now, just getting familiar with the J Reels live stream, podcast, etc. So in the blood and the DNA, as I always like to say, because where else are you going to get the fire, passion, energy, fury with my thoughts, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis, feelings on anything and everything that happens on the world of the diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. From my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are. The J Reels podcast always comes correct, direct, and in full effect. Yes, you too, Fishing Angel. I appreciate you. Toppers, yeah, go Pats. Get back at me next time. Yes, same to you, Fishing Angel. Go Pats. Absolutely. And until tomorrow, people, podcast pregame on the flip.